transition, like like you started taking on more responsibilities. He didn't prepare like, okay, Khalil, you gonna have to take this on. Was that how was that conversation like?
When did it hit to you and register to you that, hey, maybe this happening because something is more like a legacy type of thing?
You did ever tell your your father did ever recognize like it was a lot for you at that age?
A lot of people that's watching does say also like, yeah, I want to be a business owner and stuff like that. And I ain't discouraging you from it, but you need to remember that you don't have no days off.
What's going on, everybody? Back again with another episode. Today we have a special episode, but before we get into it, I want to thank everybody for watching the episodes. A lot of persons stop me on the road and say they like a lot of people say program, but the podcast. So we are happy that everyone is enjoying it. We want everybody to subscribe, like I always say. We are about 72% of the person that watch the episode are subscribed to the channel. So I would like for you a little bit more to subscribe to the channel. I want to make it down to at least 50% of you all who watching the channel are subscribed at the same time. But without further ado, we have a special guest sitting down here with us. I would like to say one of the youngest entrepreneurs on the island.
Youngest drivers.
Yeah, but I will allow him to introduce himself. So here we have sitting down with us is...
Good evening, everybody. My name is Khalil Houtman. Yeah, everybody know me, the boy from the hardware store, Mansion Enterprises. Also the president of the Race Association. So that's a majority of the people know me as the young entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, perfect, good. I wanted to know, where does the entrepreneur spirit come from?
I think it was just instilled inside of me, if I should put it that way. Mm-hmm. Because if we go back to my childhood, I think I had hate my childhood as a child. Because
why is that?
Because I never had the freedom like how everybody had the freedom to just play and go. I had some, but I also had a lot of responsibilities because everybody knew me from 8 years old, driving and stuff like that. So that was part of the must do and not the do as you feel. So as a child, it was like, man, why this life? Stuff like that. But now that I have the age I is now, I mean, yeah.
You understand now?
Understand now.
Yeah, I could remember. I could remember when we used to be in Princess a lot.
Correct.
Barbecuing, anything we could find. It could be chicken, it could be hot dog, anything we could find. And I could remember every time, boy, I gotta go on the road now to whether unload stuff or something like that.
Yeah.
And I see you say that it was more as do as you have to.
Yeah, it was more
how did it make you feel at that moment?
At that moment, I wouldn't say run away because that was like real extreme, but it was like just I'm like annoyed, like, oh God, I gotta do this again. I can remember when I was young, it had a Saturday. My father was like, hey, you gotta be by the shop for 9 o'clock. And this is me and Shaquille just home playing game. Ain't checking time, nothing, 1 o'clock, which my father would show me like, yo, pissed. And I like, yeah, just shut on the game, party done, everybody gone home.
And that time you was how old?
I think I was like 9 or 10. Then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at a young age.
Imagine.
Responsibilities. Yeah.
And how was your life, if you can remember, as a young child, before you make 8 years old?
Boy, to pinpoint it, I can't really say, but I think it was like normal.
Did he see like...
Because I was more around my mother in them ages. Mm-hmm. It was when you was able to do stuff, and I was a daddy's boy.
So that was like, how old were you?
But it was exciting for us because, you get to drive first.
Independent, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, boy, you're driving at a young age. Then it's like, okay, you could drive now, so now you got to do these things, try and face it. Just like when you get your license, before you get it, you just want to drive. When you get it, you're like, oh, God, I got to go here again.
No, it will come to it. Wow.
Yeah, because we were so close at that time, I could remember majority of the things of growing up, but how was it when you start to get in it that you're accustomed to now doing this and you have to go down and things like that. When did it hit to you and register to you that, hey, maybe this happening because something is more like a legacy type of thing?
I don't think I recognized it till like when my father passed away. I think I recognized it the most because then it wasn't he dealing with it; it was me. So now it was like, okay, this is what he trained me for, and that's when it was actually coming to play a lot. Like I think when he had first passed, like it had a lot of moments in time where I feel like it was an achievement. I just was like crying. It even because I could remember like before I was driving a big truck, every time we come up Kingswell, because it's such a slow climb, he used to be like, hold the wheel.
Yeah.
And then it had a point in time like I was climbing up and I was like, I holding the wheel myself and just like tears start running down my eye, like, boy. You know, it just flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did ever tell your your father did ever recognize like it was a lot for you at that age?
Well, I don't think, even if he did recognize, I think he knew what he was molding. Because he was like, okay, this is what I leave in for him, so this is what he needs to be able to manage. So I think he had already know exactly what he was putting in me.
Yeah.
And did it because I mean you speed forward to more that the time that your father passed away, unfortunately. How did you process that?
I processed it before he passed. It may sound strange, but 6 months or about 4 or 5 months before he passed, I was the ones who actually like tell my sisters, because it was in Holland, then like, yo, listen, if all you really want to see how your father is, like, oh, you should come back down and spend time with him, because I see how he was. I went from watching him as a man do everything to a man who I literally had to deal with him like he's my child, like drop him here, drop him there. So that's what I experienced, and I was like, yeah. And then it had points where, like when I dropped him home, because he was a dialysis patient. So when I dropped him home, he like, listen, I tired of this, like I ready to go home and stuff like that. And I just had to like just stomach it, like, listen, you're no burden to me. I don't have a problem doing this, like get through this and stuff like that. But he was just like, and I could understand, because from a man from doing everything for himself to somebody who got to pick him up, drop him off, I would feel like I was a burden to people.
Yeah.
Before he passed, I had days, months just crying.
Yeah.
Because when I reach home, I hear this like, yo, I'm ready to go home. I just put him in bed, everything, and just go in my bedroom and just cry. So I had months crying before. When he passed, I didn't even cry, to be honest. I feel like I had done cryoc everything already.
Because when you through the whole process.
Yeah. So the only time I cried was, I think, when Janadi went to the casket to see him for the first time, and then he break down and cry and like hug onto the casket. So I was like, oh. But yeah, I think I was prepared for it. Not prepared, but you know, like you're seeing it coming.
Yeah.
So.
And how was that transition? Like, you know, like you started taking on more responsibilities. He done prepare like, okay, Khalil, you gonna have to take this on. Was that how was that conversation like?
Well, it wasn't a conversation like you gonna take it over, because I think even in his days when he was sick, that he still used to come around, it was more of, yeah, you gotta deal with it, but like if I choose to make a decision, it's like, no, you're gonna ask me first. So it was still like, okay, he wanted you to do it, but you know, they still don't want to let go and trust that you could do it. So the transition process was still like, hey, he in charge and stuff like that. So
I could also remember at first he actually went away to study.
Correct. Cry, long tears. I wanted to go.
You didn't want it to go?
Didn't want it to go.
Was it that you just know that studying wasn't for you, or was it that you know your father's condition and you wanted to come back to Station?
Well, before I leave, he already had a condition. He was already on dialysis. So I had already know me leaving was the fact that all that I would, like, everything wouldn't get done, because at that point I was already driving, doing most of the work in the yard and stuff like that. So I know, of course, it would have had a big fallback. But I was dead set against. I said I don't want to go.
Yeah.
But I think sort of the excitement of me going was, I wanted to go to study to be an electrician, and he was one.
Oh,
You
okay,
understand?
okay.
So I think it was like, yeah, leave him go and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
when I was up there, I leave from here in August, and by November I was back here. Because in November he had actually fallen like ill, like other than dialysis, and then the shop had like a weekend change was closed, and I was like, listen, ma, I coming home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you come home because you don't know who else you could really depend on too, right?
well,
Because you've been through it.
I think the only people who had know that shop like him was me.
Yeah.
Because even when he passed away, I was like, all the suppliers, everybody, I had already deal with them.
Yeah.
Some of them come and see me, they're like, I hear the same story all the time. I know you from a little boy driving a
yeah.
I hear that story a million times already.
Yeah.
So
I imagine.
yeah, and a lot of the suppliers I still just deal with, keep in contact with. They call me, keep in touch. Yeah, so.
I have a question. If I had ever sit down and was like, had a conversation where he's like, boy, I'm really proud into the person that you come into, or that was never a conversation that you all had?
To remember that, I don't think we ever had a conversation.
How do you think he's looking down on you now? How do you think he feels?
Proud, guaranteed.
I could imagine that. I could imagine, because it ain't only him. A lot of people I'm sure are proud of the person you come into.
Correct, and then I hear stories like someone tell me like, hey, that same like the block making process, like your grandfather used to do that, and it was also one of your father's dreams, and now he didn't get to do it. Now you're doing it, so like he probably really proud of you and stuff like.
You did ever know of that before you start doing the blogs?
No. I would say when I tell my mother about the block machine that I buy, she was like, yeah, your grandfather used to do blocks. And
Then you find out.
Yeah, correct. Because I don't know my grandfather either, so
yeah,
I didn't know that process.
Do you feel like things like that, because you didn't know, but somehow you just end up doing it? Do you you feel like some things in life just destined to happen?
Yeah, and the reason why I say so is because I think it was just ponging on me all the time, like, yo, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to get a block machine, you need to get a block machine. Like, believe it or not, I had 3 years trying this. Like 3 years playing with a block machine, trying to get it right, just give up for a couple of months, and every time you give up, it like something just come back to you and say, listen, yo, try again.
back.
Yeah.
Try something different, try this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it decent now.
The how come? Because a lot of people say, okay, I'm gonna try this one time, I'll do it. I might try twice, but I ain't gonna try no more than that.
He said 3 years.
Where you think that come from?
I listen to a lot of motivational speakers, and of course I got my top 3: Eric Thomas, Denzel Washington, and can't believe I forget his name. And I went to see him, and
I know you mean.
Yeah,
I know you mean.
So like, and when you listen to all of them stories, like, yo, we once hit rock bottom, and we just fight through it to come back up. So it's like, yeah.
How was the experience attending that? Was it for only men or no?
No. It was actually like a lot of young entrepreneurs that just want to do stuff. You could just go to it, and they give you a lot of ideas. It was not Les Brown.
Yeah.
It wasn't he alone. It was a lot of other speakers that actually, you watch them like, yeah, for true. It had a 16-year-old. She started when she was 13.
Yeah.
Doing just lashes and stuff, and then she tell you like it had a point where she was like rock bottom, like actually living on the side of the road, and then one of her friends just pick her in, and right now she's 16 or 17, and in a year of her lashes, she profit was $270,000.
Wow.
Nice.
So it was like, yeah.
You bring me to the question, what was your rock bottom?
Boy. I think it was 2 years ago.
If you don't mind sharing, what was that?
Rock bottom till like when you got to actually like tell employees like, listen, like, I need to let you off because I don't know how next week gonna go. That was literally my rock bottom.
Because do you have like if we say you have employees, is it because of the emotional connection you might bond with them that you end up it's so difficult for you that you call it your rock bottom?
No, it was literally my rock bottom. It didn't had nothing to do with like emotions or anything. It was just literally my rock bottom.
Did you at any point in your entire journey think about maybe I should get a job?
No,
No. He makes sure I say no.
no.
Because I know some people let's go through and they be like, boy, maybe a job maybe just be easier for me than
Managing employees
Yeah.
and
No. Because again, like I say, I never had it in me to quit. Never ever. It just was, look, this is a rainy day. This gonna pass. Things gonna get better, and that was always in me all the time. Just always motivated. If I wake up and I don't feel motivated, the first thing go on my TV is a motivational speech. Trust me.
you gotta come
Always.
somewhere.
Gotta come from somewhere.
what was something you would say to like young entrepreneurs that kind of going through almost the same thing like you going through, like how and they have a hard time getting motivated. What is your kind of like your morning routine to build up to, okay, now I'm at work?
But I just wake up early every morning. 6 o'clock, don't catch me sleeping. Don't care if I went to sleep 3 o'clock. Don't catch me sleeping.
Yeah.
So I wake up early, probably sit down in bed for 10 minutes. Now I'm reading a book. So read a book for about 30 minutes, watch motivational speech, and all in the shower I bathe in this motivational speech. Some days it's music, but majority of the days it's just motivational speeches.
Where the reading come from?
The reading, where it come from? On an airport sitting down, to be honest. I was on an airport sitting down. I think my first book that I actually like sit and read was from Tom Ziglar. Because listening to Les Brown, he just talk about Zig Ziglar a lot. He was also a motivational speaker. So like, let me see what this book about. And I start reading it. That book I didn't get to finish it. But that's where the reading actually started.
Is there a particular book that really changed your perspective on a lot of things?
A book named Traction.
What
Traction.
was it about?
That book, it's about any entrepreneur should read that book. It tells you about how to deal with employees, how to deal with your business, how to get it back on track. The caption of the book is like do your business have a grip on you, or do you have a grip on your business?
Oh, okay.
So you know exactly what it's going about. But it's really great book to read.
Did you direct yourself to that book after your breaking point?
No.
Okay.
Somebody actually read it and it was like, listen, you should read this book. You should read this book. And I started to read it, and I think I got one more chapter, and that's okay.
Yeah. I know you was talking about that, you listen to motivational speaker, but I know at one point you even took a little chance and do a little motivational speaking because you do it was for a graduation or something like that?
Yeah, correct.
How was that experience like?
just like when you just messaged me telling me, I'm ready when you're ready. It was stomach cramp, all kind of thing. It was just, yeah. But it was good because like you realize like you actually have a lot of kids looking up to you. Like, I want to be like he, and I think that's also a drive to me too. Like, you want to keep on the right track because it actually have people looking up at you. Listen, he doing a good thing. I would like to be like he one day, and you don't really want to mess that up.
And growing up, who was someone that inspired you?
My father, hands on, my father.
Nice. Is there anything that you would add to what he did or change growing up? Because you're a father yourself now.
Correct. Oh, you mean like in the fatherhood?
Yeah.
I would want to be more, how to say it now? Like, I would want to conversate more with my child than how he did. Because I think when it comes to the work part, he had it down, packed it in me, like perfect. But when it comes to like communication, like, hey, this, you're gonna go through this part, especially when it comes to like relationships and stuff like this and like, you know, heartbreaks and everything. We never had those conversations.
Yeah.
It was never there. So as a father, I would like to have that talk with Zaid and stuff like that.
So that's something you will.
Yeah. That was one of the I would like to be better on for sure.
You know, they have Men's Day. And often they always say men don't really communicate or express their the emotions and so forth. What do you think we can do in the community for men? Because, like, for your example, you also said your father was not really a person who used to communicate in that way.
I think I don't think that's an easy thing to break, you know, in the sense of, because all of us growing up as men cry, hey, listen, he's a big man, what are you crying for? You know, coming out and being open about stuff, it just ain't in you. And I think I would like to also, that with my son, I would like to try to not instill that inside of him to a certain extent, but I think I got the other piece of it inside still.
A little. Okay.
Yeah.
You mean toughness?
Yeah, he needs the toughness inside.
I see you mentioned, like, for example, your father instilled certain things in you, but you say it hard for, in general, for men. And I speak for myself, I could speak for anybody, that it hard for men to open up. But how do you yourself try to get out of your own way?
At this current moment, I don't think I just try to get out. I think I just deal with everything, and when I reach to my stage where like I can't deal with it no more, that has been my time of just sitting down by myself, listening to music, relaxing, and just nothing, no phone, nothing, just me, myself, sit down and just run through all my thoughts and process and stuff like that. And then I go to go again after that. yeah.
So that's your way to unwind.
So you just really close off everything?
Close off everything. Correct. For about 3-4 hours.
Oh.
Okay. And since I started working Event Plaza, that has been my place. So like when we close up, I just sit down there and have my time.
That's
you
nice.
You think that's very important?
Yeah.
Why?
Because a lot of people that's watching does say also like, yeah, I want to be a business owner and stuff like that. And I ain't discouraging you from it, but you need to remember that you don't have no days off at all.
No vacation.
No, your vacation is not a vacation, because you can't go on vacation and just throw your phone on the side. It really hard to do. So it's like, that's my little time where I know, okay, everything closed off. I could just unwind from that.
But then you say no days off, but you're a father right now, not to put you on the spot. Don't you think, how would you change anything now so that you can have that time, that available time?
I'll say first, thankful for his mother, because that part, she just, for now, that in his age, she have that down pack. Because I just be really busy. Believe it or not, I work from 7 to 10, Monday to Sunday.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. So, a lot of props to her for that. But I also make time for him, because between that, I just have a little break, I look for him and stuff like that. Yeah. But I just always say, and I always used to tell her in the beginning too, like, listen, I could tell you from now, from Zaid, age of 0 to 3 or 4, yeah, you're going to have him a lot. But as soon as he could talk and move around, I think he's going to be a daddy's boy, just like how I was with my father.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah, so I see that already from before. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be
when he
time.
become more independent and, understand.
That's going to be my time. Because, again, he's already a machine freak and he can't be in them. So imagine when he can actually be in them. I mean, he going to want to come over them for sure.
You say that, for example, you know at a certain point that Zaid going to end up becoming a daddy's boy. I remember you say that from 8 years old.
Yes.
You had to be going down the shop to do XYZ. How is that experience going to be for him?
Boy, that's a great question, because you know, you don't want it to be like how my life was.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the outcome. You understand? So it had to make a decision from now on how it could be. Because again, I don't want to tell him, listen, you need to take over this shop. I don't want to be on him like that, because if he having him that we say, hey, I want to be a pilot, then I would never change that dream, but I would make sure that, hey, he on the track to go to that dream. Yeah. So that part of strictness for sure, yes, I would be on him.
And along the way, being with you, he can see like your commitment too. He can learn a lot from that too.
Correct. Because I think, like I say, I used to hate my young days, but watching it now, he was like, yo, this man teach me to do every single thing that needed. Mechanic, I put on tires myself, everything. I could do it.
You see, you miss out a lot in your childhood. Now that you're an adult, you have your own time, you have your own decisions you make. Is there anything that you wish you did do in your childhood that, or maybe you try it now that you're an adult?
No, because again, then you feel you're missing it because you don't know any better. But now you're like, okay, it probably was just another party. Yeah. You understand? Okay. Just go there, drink, eat, probably have fun, but it don't amount to what you know and what you learn while doing that. Yeah. So no regrets whatsoever.
I can remember you said that, like, for example, with Zaid, maybe let's say he wanted to be a pilot. In your situation with your father, is this something that you always wanted to do, or did you have at a younger age something else that you wanted to do actually?
I wanted to be a pilot too. I think that's how it comes to mind.
I like that one.
Yeah, because I actually, my first thing I ever wanted to be was a pilot. Mm-hmm. And then, my mind went off of that because I was in a work field already. So I was like, hey, let me just study to be an electrician because I know all the basics of it already. So it was just to go in school, run through it, and quick and come back out. Because even when I went hard on and I do the intake for the school, the one was like, I could never put you in school for 5 days. You'll go crazy. Mm-hmm. So she said, I got to give you
already know.
2 days of school, 3 days of start. She said, that's the only way I would put you through school. Yeah. And even GVP was the same way. I think I used to tell my mother everything the teacher going to tell her before the meeting. Yeah. Khalil, you got a meeting tomorrow? Yeah, okay. The teacher going to tell you, Khalil does do his work, but when he finish, he just disrupt the class all the time. And every time she go in a meeting, it was the same thing. Khalil just finish his work, and when he done, he disrupt the class. Yeah. And it even had a teacher that was like dead set for me, like, Khalil need to go Harvard because he grades good and he don't do nothing. And I was like, no, I don't want to do the whole book thing. Yeah. So I never take the opportunity to go Harvard.
Yeah. I see you remember you say that like laying off persons was a very difficult thing for you to do. What is outside of that? What was one of the most challenging things of running a business?
Taking a risk. It's like, let me say, these 3 cameras we're using here. We could say, boy, I got the money to buy the 3, but I know when I buy the 3 cameras, kind of broke after that. And you're like, hey, if I don't buy them, then I can't do this.
Yeah,
you understand? I think that has been the biggest headache when you're dealing with business. Just take the risk, don't be afraid.
What in the next, let me say 5 years, where do you see Mansion Enterprises?
We bigger, we better. I could say that for sure. Because, like I say, from 2 years ago, it was like a restart, literally a restart for me. And from then to now, how it is, I feel real good. Because I think it had points in time where people coming in the shop and like, you got to smile through it, but you feel bad. Where they're like, yo, your shop's so empty. And like, yeah. And stuff for trying to get this. But it was just more than waiting on stuff, you understand? Yeah. So it was like, you feel bad and stuff. But again, I always had positive in my mind that this is how I want it to be and this is how I go and roll with it till it reached that way. Mm-hmm. And it was like the same way with the blog. So it was like, fail, get up. Yeah.
And how it actually going with the blogs?
Well, it's going good. I actually can't complain about it at all. Like, I would say in the beginning phase, it was really shaky because, again, it was like, because again, everybody would say, yeah, you don't have no knowledge about blogs, so why are you building blogs? Why was my guarantee on how the blogs gonna go and stuff like that? And then I was like, boy, you're right for true. So then it was like, okay, I was talking to a guy who does deal with it. He was like, look, try this mixture, try this, because again, he wasn't getting them good.
Yeah.
He was like, try this mixture, try this, and then let me know. And then I started to try it, and it was better. And then, of course, you make some tweaks to it, and then I do the PSI test, and I was like, okay.
What's a PSI test?
That is like how strong it is.
Okay.
So they just put it in a machine, and it press and press till it break the block, and then you know exactly how strong it is. And when I do that, I was like, okay, yeah, they're good now. So it's just to keep that mix going and keep it, yeah.
So it's something for sure. You're definitely going to see you growing a lot.
Yeah, I actually have something else in the pipeline for that already. So we looking at
Yeah, I saw something was posted, like a sneak peek coming.
yeah. So yeah, that gonna get better because I used to do bricks before and I want to go back into that also. Like a lot of people just ask for bricks for the yard. Yeah, just want to walk away.
Yeah.
All of that we can start back, different colors, different designs. So yeah, it got something in the pipeline coming.
So with all of the different businesses you're venturing into, that means that you're going to be hiring more people? Because you don't have no days off.
Correct.
Will that mean your working hours going to increase too? Or?
I just tell myself, my working hours right now, I really don't care about it. As long as my body could keep up with it, I don't care about it. Because I give myself, at the age of 40 is my borderline of working.
Okay.
So after 40 shouldn't be no more hard work. So the hours now really don't matter to me.
So you're going to be the one pushing it behind.
Yeah. No. I ain't saying it gonna be me alone.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Like it gonna have, of course, more workers and stuff like that. But I just mean like to worry about how much work you have to do. Ain't on my mind right now at all.
Because I know people that say you have to pay attention to your health.
Yeah, that too.
Do you have a limit within yourself?
That was my question. Because I want to know, like,
A limit.
you're working. When you just know internally that I got to take a break now.
When your body just really, really tired. Yeah.
So
He's
no
just
point,
a hustler.
because they just say, wealth is health, or health is wealth.
Yeah, health is well.
Health is wealth.
Yeah.
Because you could be as you could make a lot of money.
Yeah, but if you're
But money could never pay for your health to be a certain way.
Correct.
And I got certain things you just do to ensure that you remain healthy.
Well, if you're talking about rest wise, yeah, because I ain't going the whole 365 like that. I go for a period of time and then, of course, I go on a vacation and then back at it again.
Okay.
Eating wise, the only healthy part I try to do with that is on time. That's the best I could say.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I try the morning for 8, 1 o'clock, and 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
After that, if I'm hungry again, I'm not going to eat. But yeah, that's the most I could say. But I would say to moving a lot, I think there's also a big health benefit when it comes to your body. Because at least whatever you're putting in, a lot of people that talk about calories and stuff, whatever you're putting in, you burn it back out.
Yeah.
I ain't saying you can eat all the junk in the world, but
Yeah.
it's still
You're saying like with all the work that you just do, you could kind of consider that as
exercise.
And
I still does actually exercise too. Because when I wake up in the mornings, I got dumbbells and everything. I think we were talking about it here. So yeah, you just wake up, you push some weights and stuff like that, and then you just start your day. So
yeah.
Yeah. Brainstorm.
I think my body's so accustomed of it now. I can't sleep no more than 6 hours.
I was just going to ask, but you answered it just now.
Cannot. if I go sleep 8 o'clock, it's because 2 o'clock I'm up going crazy. And
Really?
when I actually go back sleep 5 o'clock or something like that, that's the worst day I could have. Because I'm going to just be off from normal.
Yeah.
So my normal time to go sleep is just 12 o'clock.
Do you think you just can't sit still?
I don't want to say it, but I think I have ADHD. I would put it that way. And I think I always had it. And that's why I could have said, like, even in class, as soon as I finish my work, I need to do something else. Otherwise, I have to find something to do.
Yeah.
You get bored easy.
Yeah. Just like, I think my worst working days is office days.
When you have to sit down.
When I got to sit on behind my computer, I think those are my worst days of
Yeah.
working. Because I can't function normal. So I'm going to be like, okay, let me do this invoice. Then, oh no, let me check this product. Oh, that's how it has been. It has been real chaotic. So that's how I just know, like,
you have a lot of tabs open.
A lot.
Yeah.
And even with Zaid now, like, he's just all over the place, just energy for so. And I'm like, I can't stop get work. So like, okay, you probably just take it off your father. I was the same way. So like, just run. Just
What does, I always ask a question to everybody who usually come in to have an interview. What does mental health mean to you?
It means a lot. I think. That's just like a super unwinding time. It's because you just need to release from everything first. But at some time, yes, you need to.
And what like, for example, it is not speak a lot about, especially in the Caribbean region, it's not something that is talked about because almost at all, because our parents grew up a bit different, so they see mental health as a different, in a different way. But what do you think we can do to make the conversation a bit more normal?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. I really don't know. I think it just got to come from within. You need to be the one to say that, listen, I'm ready to open up and speak about this with somebody. And I think, like, most men' main problem is, like, who can I speak to? You understand? Because I don't want to, let me say, I don't want to go to Paula and tell Paula, listen, this is all I'm going through. And then when I see her, she's like, oh, she watched me funny because, hey, I know he going through this. You know, like, I think that's the worst thing that could happen to a man. It just make him just shut right out from everything else. And I don't think nobody else going to get bread on the wall so easy.
I was just going a little bit deeper. Is that a reason why you say you does prefer when you want to unwind, just be by yourself?
Yep.
So you silence yourself.
Yeah.
Not really open up to somebody.
No.
Do you see yourself at any time wanting to open up to somebody in order to express the things that you're holding in?
I did. I used to. Did already. And then just, no.
Was not a good experience.
I wouldn't say, look, the experience wasn't bad because it wasn't like, okay, you throw it back in my face or something like that. It was, okay, no, I open up and do all of this to you, but what happened now that we stopped speaking? You understand? So, okay, I don't have no more hole to throw my garbage in. You understand? I'll say garbage, but not literally, but I don't have nobody else that I could just go to talk to. So what about, okay, I go open up to somebody else and then the same thing happened and then, okay, what happened now? So, okay, let me just close up that. Just leave it alone.
I got next question. You send me to the next question. For example, in your business, you're willing to try again and make sure you go again to make sure you speak. How you don't do that with your life itself?
I have control of that.
Okay.
I could I know the business ain't going to leave me on this, I could leave it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could always try again with that.
I said I just have to ask. I just have to ask. Oh, I want to ask you. You said your father went through the thing with dialysis and things like that, and I know that's a very strenuous something. Especially like having to, like now, persons who want dialysis have to like travel there, like.
Yeah.
And I can understand the conversations you would have with your father that he could be in a mind state of, boy, this is becoming too much.
Oh, he was in a mind state, and that's like I tell you, like I had done know already what was going to happen because I think he had 6 or 7 years on it already. So you can imagine all that amount of years. And in the beginning, it wasn't bad because in the beginning it was just 2 times a week. I think it was Monday and Thursday or something like that. And then they realized, like, from the Thursday to the Monday, over the weekend, the amount of fluids you're holding in on the Monday, the machine can't take all the way. So it was like, okay, now we got to go to 3 times a week. So it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you can imagine jumping on a plane Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And when they come off of the machine, you're like, oh.
You're tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can imagine doing that for 6 years. Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
3 times a week.
3 times
for
a
6
week.
years.
6
Yeah.
years. I mean, the only good thing about it is he practically like had his personal driver because he and the guy from Accessible Ventures was
Tight.
pals.
Yeah.
So like whenever they reach, he would just pick him up and like carry him all over the place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was actually.
What was your, because when he passed away, what was the first day like actually going back into work? And do you ever like have times that when he first passed away that you even forget that they happened, or you pick up your phone to go call or something like that?
I hear a funny story, right?
Yeah.
So it had its time because my uncle, when he passed away, he was in Colombia. My uncle was with him. So it had its time. I just home sitting in the bathroom, and my phone ring, and I see this man number pop. Yo, I was just like, what the hell going on here? like pick up this phone, and then I pick up the phone, and it was like my uncle was like, yo, don't ever do this again.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. But no, I won't say like to forget that. No.
And the first day you went back to work, how was it adjusting to not having them around as much?
I don't think it was a big deal because again, like with the dialysis, he wasn't always there. I would say in those days, the only thing that was like breaking it was like hitting it was like when everybody come with the accept my sympathies and stuff. Like I hate it.
Yeah, you're like,
It keeps reminding you, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons like I don't really tell people it like that because I know with me, like when I find like the day he died, when I find out it was like okay, cool, no problem, you know, I'm processed it already. And then when I take up my phone, it's like just a million messages. Like, oh God. And then when I reach in the back of my mother's yard, as I reached in there, like, accept my sympathies, I didn't self-answer. I just went straight in my room, like, okay, look, I don't want to hear this now. Like, I don't know it happened. Like,
You can understand from the people's standpoint, you know, because they might see you just then and say, you know, let me give my respect. But then on your side, it's like you keep being reminded.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing. You keep being reminded that, okay, gone. And then angels accept my sympathies. Like, yo, he was a good man. Like, I know he was a good man. I just
want to come and say it.
Yeah. So like, no.
You already, you don't want to do that.
I didn't want it. I didn't want that part at all. So.
And talking about going back to mental health, you say, you know, you have difficulties opening up to people. Do you say that because the community is small?
Yeah, I think that's a big role to everybody. Yeah, that's a.
And what is something that you think we can work on? No?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, but I don't know how to come up and say like, listen, I think men would open up if you do this. I can't give you the answer on that.
No, not specifically for men, in general. Like the way, do you think we have enough empathy for each other in the community? Do we have like understanding? Do you find like that is being understood here?
I would say no. Because I think it's only now in these days is when like people actually recognize mental health as for what it is. Because like back in the days it was never nothing. So with I would say like maybe in the next 10 years, I think it would be a lot easier to deal with because then the older ones who don't believe in it they probably ain't there no more enforcing like, hey, listen, that's just foolishness you're talking.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think with the new generation, it would be like, yeah, okay, it actually is something now.
Yeah.
So I think it would be easy to deal with in the future.
And you said you was going through, you did a lot of trials with the block making, and then it had maybe someone who say, maybe talk to you and say, you think you could do this, or you think you're qualified or knowledgeable enough to do that? How was that, taking that feedback? Because sometimes people might take it as an attack.
I don't take none of those stuff as attacks, to be honest. Because, like, I just ask about feedbacks on the blogs the same way. Like, yo, what do you think about it? What do you think need to improve? Because I don't take them as, oh, I'm bashing you, no. I take it as, hey, you need to improve something because I know for sure it ain't perfect.
Yeah.
So when people say, like, you don't know what you're doing, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, yes, but I'm going to work to find out and figure it out.
Yeah.
So I don't take it as
You're going to prove it that it can work.
Yeah, because I think it had a lot of people that also tell me, like, hey, yo, that ain't going to work. It ain't possible. It just ain't going to happen. And yeah, it
Well,
happened.
maybe they couldn't believe that could happen on station.
Exactly. But again, nobody wouldn't believe it could happen until it actually happened. So when it happened, it's like, okay, yeah, it's actually possible.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I just remain positive all the time.
Yeah, because like they just say, sometimes you're doing something on your own, you don't get the praises then. Until the end result is when you see all the...
Yep.
Yeah. So apart from that, in the introduction, you spoke about that you are part of the Foundation of the Race Committee, right? Can you explain more about that?
Well, again, I was a racer. I used to race. Like the sport, there's also freedom that you won't get nowhere else. That's the only way I could say it, and I think every racer could relate. Them 5-6 seconds, that's a freedom of just different. It's just different. So yeah, I was a racer, and then we had a point in time where everything just went dead, and I was like, let me venture into something new and something different. So I went to the person who had a board, which was Khalil. He wasn't really doing anything with it, and I was like, Khalil, what do you think about me just taking over the board? He was like, yeah, okay, no problem. I'd like to do that and help you with anything you need, and indeed he did help with everything he could, and of course we started to do it. And I would say, like, somebody did warn me, like, listen, you're going into that thing, it ain't as profitable as you think it would be.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can understand. I'm willing to tug it out. And I would say I really enjoyed it. Everything was fun. A lot of headache. It's a lot of stress. And a lot of people is actually like, how with a lot of headache and a lot of stress. And when you got to sit on the safety precautions that was back then is a lot more now.
Okay.
And again, I would never give them wrong for it because safety is needed in all ways. So it's a lot more stuff you got to do. Like before, the people just used to be standing up roadside. Now you got to make sure you got... I remember it had a race. It just had just the yellow one in man cross.
Yep.
And that's it.
You used to be right there. You be.
Right there roadside.
Yeah.
Because you trying to be closer than the one who fired on and you to see everything. So it was right roadside. So like, I understand
the safety precautions.
I understand the safety precautions, what they do, and I fully agree with it. But I would say it has been really difficult. I personally find, and I think a lot of people hold me up about it, like, I find for the amount of tourism that it brings to the island, it's not supported like how it should be. Like how you would see Carnival being supported, Station Day, all of the rest of those stuff. I don't think it has been supported the way, for the impact that it has bring to the island.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Because for sure, behind the where you're speaking about that for sure, because when race come around, typically you can't get no car, you can't get no place to stay, you can't absolutely nothing you could think about. Restaurants full, everything book right out.
Correct.
However, at the same time, like you say in the beginning, it's not as profitable.
No, it's not.
How? Because technically, when you're doing the race, the money is not technically coming to you all. It's going to the hotels and the rentals and the different type of.
So you all have to
different thing.
accommodate the
Other
persons
than-
too?
No. We don't have to accommodate them. But like he said, of course we charge by the gate and whatever. But
Yeah.
with all of that also comes costs, because getting the bikes here, all of those costs fall under you. The bikers pay a certain amount, but they don't pay everything.
Because
So-
you want them to come here, you want the spot too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because you don't want to make it too expensive for them either. Because you got to remember, if it's expensive for them, they're like, okay, I could just stay where I be.
Yeah.
So you try and make it,
Yeah.
Balance out.
and you got to remember, you got to put them in a container and all of those stuff. So if it have one bike in a container, 10 bikes in a container, you're still paying for the whole container. So all of those things you got to take into hand. You need to have securities. You need to have everything in order. So it actually costs a lot.
And it's true, like what you say is one of the main things that is bringing tourism consistently, like how you all were doing
It's
it.
one of the biggest
And
events they should
I
have.
can't think anything like you say other than carnival. But there's people really come for carnival here. Really, isn't it mostly like, okay, you have persons coming for vacation from school, and then
Correct.
but for tourism, I don't know about that, but I know for sure with a race, you have people from different islands
All
coming.
over.
That's a guarantee.
Guarantee. Listen, it have so many guys from the States that just call like, yo, when is the next race? We want to come. Like before, we had one racer out of the States.
Yeah.
It used to be one. For the last race that we had there, we had I think 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 international races. Tunas also was
Yeah.
here.
So
And
go ahead.
they carry back the word, and now everybody else want to come. It even have a guy that, listen, look, I gonna just fly. I gonna bring down my bike from the States and just leave it here till when you guys got race. 'Cause
Yeah.
the track is one thing, but I would tell you, the streets is a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
Just like the guy from the States say, he like, I can't believe like these two guys just here fretting and look at the green fight, and then
Yeah.
2 hours down the line you sit down by the bar sitting and having a drink together. He like, it's just different. It's
Yeah.
just really, really different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you speak about when they come down here and they see the track. How do they react to that?
Everybody does say we crazy. Yeah. Yeah, oh, you guys crazy.
Yeah. And speaking of that, since we're on the topic of track, I know that track is a very long, a big discussion that we always have with having a track for the bikers to specifically go on so they could do X, Y, Z. Is there anything something like that going to come anytime soon, or what's the progress on something like that?
It's in the pipeline. It actually there. It
Okay.
actually there. It's just to grab it and take it. I would say it got small hiccups, but it there. There.
So that's on the way.
Yeah. I would say yeah.
You say it with a heavy hand.
Because it, like I said, it
You can't speak much because it's not completely
Correct.
definite yet, right?
Yeah, correct. But I would say it ain't impossible.
Okay.
Let me do put it that way. Ain't impossible.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
impossible.
And with where the race is concerned, it's something that, because I see you always do it, is twice a year now.
Yeah, we just try to aim for the 3 times a year or 4 times a year for big events. But I want to aim at the 4 times a year for big events, but just do some small local ones in between just to keep everybody
Oh,
busy.
okay.
In the
But
rhythm.
that's kind of the plan that I want to push out.
And
You go ahead.
and how is it with the rain?
You can't do
I had to ask that.
you can't do nothing about that. And I think, the good thing about it is
It was
ain't only
coincidental.
here. So like all the racers understand, like, hey, this is the risk I take for paying tickets and everything to come. And if
Yeah.
you're green, I just know that, hey, I can't race. So
Yeah.
ain't like people that's be vexed about it, they just understand you can't change it.
Yeah.
So again, we just always skip August, like just
Yeah.
show August out of the way, because August and September we know in station is
Exactly.
raining
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why those 2 months is just try to chill them out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To avoid
That's
that.
true. You can. Mother Nature.
Yeah, unpredictable.
Exactly.
What is something that you say, you would like race to be more highlighted? What incentives or what push needed, you would say, that would be ideal?
Support.
Because they say in the beginning, they say like a lot of people, well, person told you, don't get into that because it ain't really, it's a lot of money. It's basically almost, I think they would say flushing money down a toilet at a certain point. How does something like that operate? Is it profitable? Do we at least break even? How the race looking in these recent times?
For sure in the beginning you don't even break it even.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with that.
Yeah.
But eventually as you go along, it go reach back. So I would not say profitable. I would say your first starts, it could never be profitable.
Yeah.
You need to be in it for the long haul to say that, hey, you're gonna work out.
Yeah. And me myself, I don't per se know anything about the organization of a race or something like that. But I always used to question like how come they never like combine it with a event or something like because you have everybody down there, why not have something like a
Different
when
events
the race
going on?
when it's done, at least when it's done, it have a band or just something going on right after. It ain't have to be going on in between, but after.
Oh, you mean like at the
mean-
location?
Yeah,
or
at the location or the place have got something that it right after because you don't get everybody on the road anyhow, basically. Correct. Like something like that.
That was actually in the planning for the last one, but we had an issue with it, so we couldn't do it. So like for future planning, that was a part of it, yeah. Because a lot of people did say the same thing, like, yo, why you don't just keep the people down here, just
Yeah.
do. So that was in the planning, yes.
It's just a question I had because I noticed like when you go down there, the amount of people down there, and then when you see everybody leaving, you're like, boy, there's a lot of people down here for sure.
Yeah.
And if you could just stay down there and the event just be whole down there,
Entertainment.
you could make even extra on top of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when is the next race?
July. I can't get a date yet, but
At least that one is combined with Carnival, right?
no,
Being
it
the
ain't
same?
all the time.
Oh,
You
okay.
can't. You see, the thing that's be with combining two big events is we gotta remember that we limited when it comes to police and stuff like that. So you could
okay.
imagine a police gotta be on duty from 7, go straight into.
You see, that's something you don't think about for sure.
Yeah. So you gotta understand that we're in the biggest country. We just could pull them like that.
That is true.
Yeah, that's like one of the same reasons with you don't mix Sabre and Carnival, Station Carnival together because Station police go Sabre to help. So
Well, thank you so much for explaining that because I know a lot of people maybe used to be wondering the same thing.
yeah, so you gotta take
That
that
is-
into
that is
consideration.
true.
And
Exactly.
Never
the
thought
human,
about that.
You can't get vexed with them. So you take that into consideration.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I see you yourself. I mean, you say you used to race, but I see kind of like you're about to maybe jump back in. Is something you're thinking about for the next race?
That has been the problem. You could never hold a race and race. You don't enough people for that. So that's one of the heartbreakers that has got to go through all the time. Like, okay, if you're holding a race, just remember you can't race. So yeah, that's one of the heartbreakers.
How expensive is it actually racing a bike?
Racing ain't expensive. Building is expensive. Very expensive. I give a rough figure. Just look above 20.
Just in building.
Correct. To be in something like to be a contender, yeah, you're looking at that.
Wow.
mean, everybody got a voice.
Yeah.
But because the I would say from back in the days to now, the game changed so much with electronics and stuff. Everybody going fast. It just ain't cheap no more. Ain't cheap. So just know if you want to go into the racing game, just know, hey, it gonna cost.
Yeah.
It gonna cost for sure.
So not only that, you have to have your money there.
But again, you could go at your pace of how fast you want to do it. But when you add it up, it gonna still cost.
I don't know about bikes, so don't judge me here. But isn't it a thing that people can ride other people's bikes, like rent it? Look, okay, you don't want to invest so much, but you want to just go in it to race.
No, you know, reason why I spent, let me say, I spent 20,000 in my bike.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want Jackie to just come and say, hey, let me ride the bike and just put 20,000 in his hand, and I don't know how he would do it or what. So no,
Yeah.
you don't get that so easy. What you get is a lot of the professional riders, like, let me say, if I just want to build a bike but I don't want to race it, I would build it and then say, hey, Jackie is a professional rider, let me just call he to ride it, and then, yeah, I would make
But
money.
that's based off of your trust.
Yeah, to him.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it don't be the other way around.
Okay.
Because one thing go bad, one run go bad, and
Don't judge me. I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah,
like,
the money
you
just
know,
gone.
Yeah,
Basically,
just
people
gone.
just like the sport, but they ain't got the funds too. Well, yeah.
Then you don't like a sport.
No, not the fun. Let me leave it alone. Leave that alone. I just want to go and play. But yeah, it comes with a risk too. So if anything go wrong, you gotta make sure you could be you could cover that cost again.
exactly.
Yeah. Was there anything that you would like to change about the race? You know, you're on a foundation.
I wouldn't really change nothing besides, like Jackie said, the events after the race and stuff. That's something I would love to happen.
Yeah. And the support.
And the support. And the support. But yeah.
Yeah. Khalil, we had a real in-depth podcast. But before we end, we always like to ask the person if they have anything they themselves would like to leave for the public.
I would tell all the whether young or old people that entrepreneurs want to start doing a business or start doing something for themselves, don't leave nobody convince you not to do it. Especially if you have a dream and you've seen it. Don't tell your dreams to other people either, because they would shoot it right down and out of you. Trust me. You would tell them, look, I want to do this, and they'd be like, no, ain't. They would give you all the negative thoughts about it just because they can't see it happening. So if
Exactly,
you
like
seen
with the
it,
blocks.
yeah. So if you've seen it and you know you could do it, just keep pushing towards it. And I think a lot of people just don't play it too, but find a mentor. Find somebody who you could look up to and say, one day I want to be like that, like a person. And trust me, it makes a difference. I had a part in my life where you would think like, boy, like would be. And then you can imagine you was 25 and somebody who is 45 who you watching like, yo, this man got everything going on. And he watch you like, yo, at your age, when you reach my age, you won't be unstoppable. I think hearing that sentence just flip a switch inside of me. Like, okay, you could see what it is because you passed through that stage, and you telling me that just flip a switch in me too. I was like, yo, there we go. There we get it.
Yeah.
That's
So you're always going to have that in your mind.
your inside was telling you, like, yo, there we go get it.
Yeah.
Because it's reachable. Just like I said with the blog, like, that was a dream, and I just know I was going to get a dream.
Your mindset.
Wise word for the listeners. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I definitely did. Definitely insightful. Khalil, He don't talk as much, but he give us a good call.
Yeah,
Good
because
conversation
like I
for
tell
sure.
you, when you message me and say, yo, are you ready? When you ready, you barely start to cramp everything. Yeah, because I ain't the talkative person at all. I think my first experience was Kings of Kings.
Yeah.
Like I went
You ready for true, yeah?
yeah, I
You
went
ready
up
for
on
true?
stage with a perfect speech.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
That's a good one for
as
sure.
I stand up in front of everybody, it was
That was
just blank. Yeah, so
Yeah, so I would like to thank you for coming on the podcast. We appreciate you actually wanted to open up and talk about the different things.
thank you for inviting me also.
We appreciate it. Like I say on the talk, capture the moment, watch it forever. See you guys in the next episode. Bless.